liar, runner, and avoider. These three Muslims, Ali Dawah, Sneako, and The Warner, perfectly embody the concept of lying, being intellectually dishonest, avoiding challenges to their faith, and running all in the name of Allah. Now hey, I get why they don't have a problem with it though, because Allah himself permits them to lie. So it shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. I am Ashley, and this channel exists to empower you to defend Christianity. In this video, we will look at common tactics applied by Muslims like these, and 2 steps how to counter Muslims that attack you. Now let's jump right into it, starting with Sneako, admitting that he will become a Christian if we can prove Jesus is God. Yet once these Christians want to meet his challenge, he runs. They call it Dawah and Dash. It is hilarious. Check it out.
Show you where Jesus says he was God.
There it is.
What would you do if we could show you where Jesus says he was God?
Then I'd become a Christian.
Thank you very much.
22, verse 13.
And I'll also pull up Revelation 1 verse 3. And I'll also pull up Matthew.
Check, he's starting to stress. Check it out. Looking around. Watch. Dawah and Dash. There he goes.
Sneako, don't run. Sneako, don't run.
Now he tries to make a joke out of it. You see Ali Dawah like trying to stop him there? Like even the Warners there laughing at him. Right. There he goes again. The thing is, he never comes back.
Dawah and Dash. Sneako.
Oh my goodness.
Dawah and Dash, don't run. Sneako. Dawah and Dash, this is embarrassing, Sneako. Sneako, this is embarrassing. Don't run. Sneako, Dawah and Dash. You came with a question. Sneako, you came with a question.
All right. That's enough. Like, he runs. Now, the video's on YouTube. You can go watch it, right? At the end, he just runs super far. And he never comes back. Like, you can see Ali Dawah almost dying inside. Like, dude, just stop what you're doing, man. Just just stop. Because and the Warner just standing there laughing at him. Like I'm sure they know. Oh man, we shouldn't have said that because they're gonna prove to you that Jesus is God out of the Bible. It's hilarious, but man, what a hypocrite! Run, Sneako, run. Now here's another one. It's the Warner and Sneako. First claiming there's only one Quran, then being schooled out on how many there actually are. Check this out.
So I was wondering what your perspective was about the preservation of the Bible and the Quran.
Right, the Quran has never been changed.
Never been changed. So there's only one Quran.
Yeah, there's only one version of the Quran.
Only one version of the Quran.
Yeah, and since then, like, people have been able to recite it. Even if all the Qurans were burned, then we'd be able to.
Right. Because the oral tradition, you know exactly what it is, so you can recite it by
I
heart.
can't recite it, but people can
Others
memorize
can.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, others can.
So do you accept that there's 10 qira'at of the Quran, 10 different readings?
Sure.
Okay, but those 10 different readings are obviously different, right?
Okay.
So if they're different, then there's not one Quran, there's 10 Qurans.
You see how he said, sure? And then he's like, okay. Like, he's never heard of this. Yet he says, sure, by accepting there are 10 different ones.
Okay.
So do you take that back that there's only one Quran?
That's the first time I've heard that.
I said it to you, you accepted it, so I assume you know about it, right?
You said
Don't
sure.
take my word for it.
What are the 10 versions?
No, so there's different recitations, just like there's...
Now, this is the Warner speaking. Like, he's coming in saying it's different recitations. It's like different accents. Listen to what he says.
different accents. There's a British accent, there's a Texas accent, there's an English accent.
They're not accents.
Different accents. Who are you going to believe, a Muslim or a Christian?
Who are you going to believe, a Muslim or a Christian? Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, oh, it's my word or your word. Who are you going to believe? Like, that's not how it works, man.
Really? Is that what it boils down to? Just believe. Yeah, of course. So it's the famous one. Muhammad Hijab will tell you this.
Now, I'm from South Africa. I say tomato, but here in Canada they say tomato. So a tomato and a tomato is the same thing. An owner and a king is not the same thing. There's a bunch of examples where the qira'at actually completely differ. Like, it's not just accents.
I started to chat with him about it. So you have, in Surah Al-Fatiha, you have ayah 4, I think it's ayah 4, ayah 4, ayah 7. Yeah, so Malik Yawm-Din or Malik Yawm-Din, owner or king in Arabic. They're two different words. So if you want to read up about this, you can get a book.
See, like, you can be an owner of a house, but that doesn't make you the king, right? You can the king of the land versus the owner of one of the houses in the land that the king governs. It's not the same thing.
The 10 Qira'at of the Noble Quran by Dr. Fidel Soliman, who works for the Bridges Foundation in Cairo, which is a Dawah Institute, and he's wrote a book about it, where he translates the Quran into English, but not just in one reading, he does it for all 10. So you can read the differences in the Quran for all different 10 valid readings according to Islamic scholars.
Great.
Cool. So do you accept then that the Quran is not perfectly preserved? Because
No,
there's more than one
I'll
Quran?
read that book and I'll see if that's the case. It's the first time I've heard that.
Okay.
Now, he says he'll read it up. Now, I can respect when someone says that they've never heard of a topic and say that they will go and read about it. I just hope he does, right? I just hope he's not one of the other hypocrites like the other ones are, like that he'll actually go and read. But check this out. The Warner comes in and lies, right? He lies flat out, says it's accents. Now, there are different meanings in the Qira'ats where a sentence says something completely different. Now, he also says there are 10 official Qira'ats. There's actually over 30. I can list, here's 30 different Qira'ats. You can go and buy these Qurans. Like, you can go and buy them online. 30. Now, even the oldest manuscript, like the top copy, contradict the Cairene text that was used to canonize the Quran in 1924. That's when it was canonized. Now, check what happens next. The Warner comes in and he tries to attack them personally instead of defending these claims against Islam because he simply does not have an answer. He cannot objectively claim that the Quran has been perfectly preserved because he can't justify which one of the 30 was actually the preserved one. Check it out. This is an ad hominem. He attacks them personally and just avoids. He tap dances around the actual topic at hand. Is the Quran perfectly preserved? If so, which one of the Qira'at is actually the perfectly preserved one, and what brought you to that conclusion? No Muslim can answer this. But check what he does.
Also, keep in mind that you guys are Christians. You guys misinterpret everything.
Keep in mind, you guys are Christians and you misinterpret everything. See, there he's trying to tap dance and change the topic, change the subject.
So that's called ad hominem. That's called ad hominem. So let's whoa, that's ad hominem. Ad hominem. Calm
See,
down.
now it's like, oh, you think a man is God. Why would you take anything you say seriously?
Calm down. No need to attack someone. It's just ad hominem. Ad hominem means against the man. It's a fallacy that people use in debate when they can't actually address the point.
I'm having a conversation.
So let's address the point. So according
Yeah, I'm having a conversation. I'm not debating. Man, what a scapegoat. Like, he just made points against them. Oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? Oh, but I don't want to defend anything that you guys are bringing up to me because this is not a debate. This is just a conversation. Yet he brings up a whole bunch of stuff to them, which, like, what? Is it now fair for them to just say, like, oh, I don't want to answer this either because this is just a conversation. This is not a debate. Like, what a hypocrite. What a liar.
according to Islamic Sunnah, the Hadith, Muhammad says there is 7 viable different ways that you can recite the Quran. They're called the Aruf. I can get the Hadith, it's Sahih Bukhari and others as well. So that must mean there are 7 valid ways of reciting the Quran. But according to your scholars, there's 10. How did that happen?
That's the first time I'm hearing that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You should look it up.
See how the Warner is just quiet? The guy asks, how did that happen? Quiet, like crickets. Nothing. So then they speak about Uthman, grabbing all the manuscripts, putting them all together, burning out all the other ones that the Muslims were fighting over because no one actually remembered what the right Quran was. Everyone had different ones. So he gathered all the manuscripts, he burnt them all, he chose the one that is Qurayshi, this is the right one, and that was now the Quran. Like, even that in himself. They're like, everyone's remembering it differently, but Uthman remembered it correctly. No one else, right? Just that on a scholarly ground, you cannot therefore claim that the Quran has been perfectly preserved, because he burned so many manuscripts that contradicted the one that he agreed with, right? But check it out. So they're talking about this, and here comes the Warner again with ad hominem attacks, trying to steer the conversation in a new direction instead of actually addressing the question at hand.
You don't think you're just projecting about how all the
Is this another ad hominem?
That's
another ad hominem? Okay, so that's an ad hominem.
You're projecting.
Hold on. You don't think you're just projecting?
Welcome to Speaker's Corner.
That's a two-cold fallacy.
You don't think you're just projecting your insecurities?
No, ad hominem.
That's a two-cold fallacy. Whether it was or was not the case that the Bible was preserved or not.
That's why I know.
Look. Sneako, Dawah, and Dashed again.
Right, you going? You going? He just walked off. Right. That was the quickest debate ever.
That's fallacious.
Where's he going?
I don't know.
Where's he going?
Do you want
to debate? Do you want to debate? You just know to insult.
Yeah, because that's what you tried to do to me as well. You tried to
Just want to insult. Yeah. I mean, I can't even be angry at the guy. His religion teaches that this is permissible, right? So it is what it is. But I was shocked when I heard Ali Dawah use this against a Christian to try and prove a point, especially knowing that he objected to the very questions he's throwing at this Christian in another video. Like, the hypocrisy is next level. Now, check what he says in this video, and then I'm going to play another video how he refutes himself when presented with this question about Islam. So in this video, they're talking about how God is powerful, how Ali Dawah shouldn't restrict God being able to enter his creation, put on flesh, become man. The person of Christ become man. So they're arguing about how someone limits God. Anyway, so check out what Ali Dawah does here. This is a strategy. He's thought this through. You can see he even tells people to time him how fast he's going to refute this Christian. Check it out.
The word all-powerful means there is no limit to what God can do. Really? If you say there is something to limited that God can do,
see, he's planning already. Watch.
If God cannot if your God cannot do something, then your God is not all-powerful. My God can put on flesh at any point he wants and make a relational active force with human beings. So 2,000 years ago, Yahweh took on flesh and he said, yes, I am God.
No problem. I'm going to end this conversation in 30 seconds. Can someone time me?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, bro. Someone time me now.
You know, this guy has zero logical reason.
30 seconds.
We're counting.
Tell me when it starts, yeah? Tell me when it starts. Tell me when it starts.
I know. The pride of Allah. The pride of Allah. Let's go.
Wait, no, say 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3.
Go. He said God's being powerful means you cannot limit him, yeah? Can God lie?
No.
Can God cease to exist?
Cease to exist.
No.
You said by
that's
limiting
not
God, he's not
limited.
God. 1 second.
God is powerful logically.
Look, how many seconds?
How is that logically?
40.
You're not logical.
Seconds. Look,
you're not even logical.
For God to be all powerful, you cannot limit him. I said, can God
lie?
die?
Let me know when
he goes, no. Can God die? He goes, no. You just limited God.
No. Alright, cool.
Sense.
Alright, cool.
God is powerful. You can't limit him. Can God lie? No. Can God fix things? No. Can God make a rock so big?
That's such a fallacious argument. That is such a fallacious argument. That is such a fallacious argument. This is embarrassing, bro. This is embarrassing for the ummah.
This was embarrassing. See how he brought up the thing? Is God so powerful he can create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it? Like, the fallacious arguments that he is making, I'm gonna let he himself refute himself. All right, watch this video. I can't believe he brought this up. The intellectual dishonesty, the lies, the hypocrisy. The guy calls out his fallacies and he just dismisses them. 14 seconds. 14 seconds, man. 14 seconds is all it took for me to make fallacious arguments against you that hold no logical ground.
Can God create a rock that he can't lift?
I mean, this is an invalid question. When people ask this question, it's like a valid question. I can ask the question, can God cease to exist? Of course not. It's contradictory. It's like me saying, how many days in a week? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's not a yes or no question. I have to ask how many days of the week? 7. So the point is, the question is invalid. So to say, can God create a rock so big that he can't lift? Then the moment he creates that, he becomes not powerful because he can't lift it. There's no such thing that exists. It's just a question that is asked for the sake of it.
It's just a question asked for the sake of it. It's a question that does not make any sense. It's a logical impossibility. That's like trying to limit God by saying, well, can God make a square circle? Well, by definition, those things are not logically possible. So trying to prove that God is limited by posing a logical impossibility is a fallacious argument. He himself said that, yet he goes to the Christian trying to make his own point by proving how that statement, God is all powerful, as soon as you limit him, or you can't limit him, right? So then he tries to prove, oh, you can limit God. Can he cease to exist? But in his own video, he says that question makes no sense. He then poses, can God make a rock so heavy he can't lift it? Yet in the other video, he says that question makes no sense. It's just asking a question for the sake of asking a question. Yet he has done that. You see the hypocrisy? Again, it comes down to when it is permissible to lie within Islam. If your end goal is to sow doubt in Christians' beliefs, go for gold. You can tell as many lies as you want to try and trick and deceive Christians. Now, how do we deal with this? First, recognize whenever they want to try and change the topic. We saw that throughout. Sometimes this comes in the form of them trying to present the same case against the Bible. Now, let's look at an example. I ask about the Quran's preservation and highlight that some of the oldest manuscripts that Muslims have, like the Topkapi manuscript, is not even Uthmanic. They might try and avoid the topic altogether by trying to bring in the authenticity of the Bible by making claims such as, but look at your Bible, it has changed so many times, you have so many versions and translations. Now, recognize this tactic and simply ask them to stick to one topic at a time and not to run away or tap dance around your question. Now, don't fall for their trap. You can simply tell them that you would love to address their new question, but to first insist on them explaining their position of perfect preservation first. Now, strategy number 2. Whenever they try and bring up anything against what the Bible said, stop them and remind them that their own Quran affirms our Bible in its entirety. What do I mean by this? Here are 16 surahs in the Quran that affirm the Bible that Muhammad had with him in his time. Now, how do we know that the Bible has not changed since the time of Muhammad? Well, it's simple. Because we have manuscript evidence of what was in the Bible before Muhammad's time, during the time of Muhammad, and after the time of Muhammad, and they all remained the same. If you want to read up about any of these, Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Vaticanus, like Dead Sea Scrolls, it's all out there. You can just go and check Interlinear Bible, make sure they're all the same. Anyone can do it. So remember, any claim of biblical corruption that a Muslim is trying to use against you means the following. They are denying the Quran. They are denying manuscript evidence. They are denying historical facts pertaining to textual scrutiny. They are calling Muhammad a liar. They're calling Allah a liar and a failure because he got it wrong, because it was what Allah had sent down. So until they can first prove the Bible is not the same anymore, referring to the Greek and Hebrew text, then you should not let them move on to make any point regarding anything about the Bible, because then they will be burying the Quran with it. Keep reminding them of that each time they want to continue attacking the scripture. So in summary, number 1, don't let them redirect the conversation and run away from your question. And number 2, don't let them attack the Bible without reminding them that their Quran supports everything in it, according to actual manuscript evidence. Want to support this ministry? Head on over to Patreon, link is below in the description, and choose a package. Even for as low as the value of a takeout coffee, I have an apologetics course on Udemy, I sell Christian merchandise like this hat. Have a good one.